I do it for the thrills. Alright, what's good, entrepreneurs? This is your host, the Beardless Lad, and welcome to yet another episode of the Beardless Lad audio experience. I just got done with my finals for this semester. It's been pretty wacky semester for obvious reasons, but I'm finally happy that I'm not complaining about things that are not in my control, and I'm also gradually getting out of the procrastination stage. Actually putting in some work, and this weekly show has been helping me really good. Furthermore, to let you all know, I will be on YouTube soon bringing you informative and entertaining videos on business and entrepreneurship. Also to document my journey on becoming an actor. With all that being said, just let's get into today's episode. Today we got a special guest joining with us. He is a magician, a mentalist, and a media personality. He has been featured in many TV shows in Australia, where he blew his audience's mind with his phenomenal skills. So, on this week's podcast, we are going to know about his journey and how he got himself into the media. So please welcome the only mentalist of Bangladesh, Raziq. Hey, listen, are you an entrepreneur or a content creator? If yes, and you don't have a podcast, you are missing out on a lot of opportunities. With Anchor, it becomes really easy to start on your own. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to start a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that allows you to edit and record right from your phone. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you don't have to. And you can reach your audience on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's literally everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
All right,
Welcome
cool.
to the Beardless Lad audio experience, Raziq. It's such a pleasure to have you on my show today. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for asking. Is this your first time on a podcast as a guest?
Yeah, this is the first time on your podcast.
Awesome. So that's a lot of first times I'm having with my guests on my podcast. Last episode I had Farhan. Do you know Farhan?
Yeah, Sexy Brown Magic.
Yeah, Sexy Brown Magic. Last episode I had him on my podcast, and it was his first episode too, first time on a podcast. So yeah, bro, I reached out to you a few weeks ago because I thought you have an interesting story and my audience would love it.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, cool, 100%.
Yeah, bro. So, how long have you been doing magic for, bro?
I've been doing magic since I was 12 years old, but then again, it was always on and off, because everybody knew me as the guy who did magic.
I see.
So, especially when I went to London and then I was in Australia as well, I was studying all the time. So, but everybody, every time I went to a party, they knew, oh, this is the guy who's a magician. So I used to do magic every now and then, but it was never properly. But when I was young, I did a couple of, because I'm from Chittagong, and then I did a few shows in Chittagong Club, which was just a lot of fun. This was when I was a kid. I was 12 years old.
Okay, so how long has it been since you started this seriously?
Professionally, I've been doing it for the last 4 years when I launched my company, magic.razik.
Yeah.
But then again, there's a part of me that always were this there could be something serious down there. But then again, my parents were always the kind of guy do whatever you want, but then again, you always have to complete your studies first. Get that sorted. So I made sure I did my undergrad, then I did my master's, and after that I was like, you know what, let's look into this as a profession.
Yeah, I understand, bro. Brown parents, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, bro. So, let's hear your elevator pitch. You have a whole new audience now. So, how would you introduce yourself to someone new?
I'd say I'm a mentalist. I reckon I'm the only mentalist that Bangladesh knows of, because nobody's been doing it like that. So I
Okay.
just go like, I am Bangladesh's mentalist. Probably the best magician in Bangladesh right now.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just putting myself out there, but I don't want people to think
Right.
I'm a dick.
Yes, bro. No, that's amazing. That's amazing, though. Being one person in one country who can do one job, that's amazing. Yeah. So, like, was magic always a passion of yours? And after you answer that, I would like to hear, how did you like your engineering job?
Yeah, magic has always been, it's been a passion, like, ever since I was a kid, like, after I did my first magic trick, I was like, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. And then
Yeah, what was your first magic trick?
I can't remember, must have been something shitty, like, because my dad used to bring pranks when he used to travel abroad, like, from business.
Okay.
So he used to bring them us. I used to pick them up and, like, do it with, like, the uncle or aunties whoever used to come down to our houses. And then when I saw that, me being a kid, like, messing with them like that, I was like, you know what, this is me.
Yeah, I see. So, and about your engineering job, how did you like it?
Oh, yeah, engineering was sick. Like, I loved it. Like, because, like, I always gravitated to like, physics, and then all the technical kind of subjects, like, something related to science. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be an engineer. And then when I put my mind to it, like, right. So, and I think in London I didn't study as much because, like, I was too busy partying. But
yeah, I see.
Like, Australia, like, I studied my ass off. So graduated as a valedictorian, got a great job, and then moved to moved to a couple of different companies that I've worked towards, set up like, huge infrastructures for them, network and whatnot. And then after that, I've decided on the side I was working with a theater as well. So I was headlining one of their shows.
Okay.
So this was just before I was coming back to Bangladesh, which is a couple of months ago. I was like, you know what, I know I can always come back to it if I want, and I have experience. And I've worked with some of the big boys, like, globally known. So I was like, you know what, I always have this. I'm going to see if magic works out. And I know I can do this because when I set my mind to it, I'm like a dog. I sink my teeth in, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get this shit done.
I see, bro. I see. So, like, was coming back home a strategic decision for you? Because it takes a lot of guts, to be honest, to take such a decision to leave all the opportunities you've got down under and come back home to work in the media. So, I'm just curious, what initiated that decision?
It was something that I always wanted. So I know I had it back of my mind, and then for initially, like, you always want to have a stable base where you make enough money, right? And then like, in Australia for the last 5 years or so, I've got this. I can always make money, and then it's not going to be a problem. And then I know, even if right now, even if you take every single have and I'm broke, I know I still have that all in my brain. Like, I've got the knowledge, I've got that experience. So even if you, like, rob me blind, I'm still sorted in my life. So I'm like, okay, now you've got a stable base. Now you've got that confidence. Now go do whatever you want to do. And, like, for me, it was to the point that, like, I could jump into a pool, and then I'm okay if I drown. And then now is the time. So now, even if I, like, it's still a scary decision. It was very scary because you're leaving a lot of, like, experience, money, and then everything behind, like, stability. And then life was good down there. So, but still, at the end of the day, I was like, now even if I drown, I'm okay with it. Like I told you, because I've done my due diligence, like, before that.
Right.
It was kind of an educated, like, risk. But having said that, it's still scary. It's still fucking scary.
Yeah, just like an entrepreneur, bro. So, like, are you doing anything related to engineering on the side right now, or it's just magic?
No, right now it's just, like, I'm concentrating on magic. Like, engineering wise, like, even the last job that I had, which was an account, that was completely different from engineering as well. Working for the last 2 years almost.
Okay,
But I enjoy learning new things, and then to the point that, like, I strive on, basically, I do this stupid thing, like, even when I had a good job and then I was happy with my job, I still go out to an interview every now and then every couple of months to a job that
Just
I'm
to
not
test yourself.
yeah, and I pick jobs that I'm not supposed to get. So the last job that I got was in the property industry that made a software where the clients the huge clients like JP Morgan, Lendlease, and all the use the software to basically develop their projects, their movement, their leases, and everything like that. So as a matter of fact, I used to be at JP Morgan, Asia Pacific side before I came down here. So
oh wow, that's amazing.
So that job, the requirements were you need to know how to do coding SQL, which is database, if you know about it. And then you needed to have experience in the property industry, and then also you needed to know accounting. And from my background, I had none of that. But I still walked into the interview, and then the way I sold them the job is it's funny. I was like, look, I don't have one of these things. Pick anyone else, but I'll probably do a better job than them because I'll learn faster than them. And the way I was speaking, they could see the confidence and the drive that I had. And then I was like, let me tell you. Yeah, they bought it. And then I told them, let me tell you where the difference is. I perform in every weekend in front of 100 plus people. I know how to control a crowd, and more importantly, I know how to control clients. And then having said that, I was like, look, I've also managed my own business, which I was doing at that point. To manage my clients, to manage expectation, understand what they have, and then delivering them results. And then for them, that resonated. They're like, oh shit, even this kid doesn't have all this experience of the technical knowledge, which you can always teach him. He knows how the business works. So, and then they gave me the job. I was like, yeah, that's sick.
Okay, so just curious, by any chance, did you use your mentalist skills to get you the job?
Not directly, but every time I sit in front of every time I sit in front of someone, I'm kind of reading them, which is why I like doing interviews that I'm not supposed to get, right? Because then you're being thrown all. It's like a push and pull. I say something and I see how they react, and then I say a different thing, I see how they react, and then whatever they're reacting well, I pull on that string a little bit longer, right? So for me, it's almost like I'm kind of playing them, feeding them little crumbs, and then seeing what they react, what they test to, and then I kind of string along that way.
I see, brother. Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah. So, do you miss Australia? Any plans on going back?
Australia is home right now, because I'm a citizen. So definitely definitely gonna go back. I don't know if I'm gonna go back for a long time or not. But then again, I'm enjoying Bangladesh. Even the corona is messing things up for me. It's kind of to stop everything. But that's the rest of the world, so it's fine. I'm getting things done in home quarantine. But I think I'll be moving back and forth 100%.
I see. How are you utilizing your time during quarantine right now?
Quarantine, I'm doing a few different things. So practicing new magic, obviously, and then on the side, I've worked with a couple of home quarantine projects where you kind of it's for one of the media firms that they had. So I did that.
Okay.
And then now that is over, I work out, and then I work out in the mornings because I want to come out of this quarantine ripped. Because and then what else? Oh, I'm learning how to trade as well. There's something that I've been looking forward to, putting some time on, and then trying to understand how the world works around the finance industry. So
for foreign exchange or stocks?
Foreign exchange.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting as well, because for me, even though I don't know if I'm gonna go down that line of basically making it a profession and anything from there, but I still want to know, just from my nature, I just like knowing things.
Yeah, sure. So what's your ultimate goal, Raziq? Is it to get really big in the field of magic and have your show in Vegas maybe, or to become a media personality and maybe join films?
I think magic is going to take. If the other thing happens on the side, which it probably will, and then I'm I'm going to let that flow as well.
I see. So what are you leveraging right now, Raziq? Are you trying to utilize the power of social media to build your brand, or is it the connections you have and you are making right now to get exposure on TV?
Social media definitely helps out. So leveraging the connecting with people, making new content, putting things out there, performing in places where people know about, like Ittadi, which is essentially like Ellen for Bangladesh. Those of people that might know, not know about the show. Yeah. So just connecting with people, putting things out there, and also I think I know, compared to the other people, right? Been in the media industry, I'm a bit different, where I have all this education and everything behind me. I come when I'm talking to someone and pitching something and making them understand something, even though I don't have the experience, I still feel like I come and speak from a position of strength. And then that helps me to get things sealed, contracts and deals and whatnot.
And how would you say that? Is that because of your education, or is that because the natural talent that you have in yourself?
It's a combination of, I think it could be a combination of both. Education definitely helps, because when they know, oh, this guy has done his masters, he was a valedictorian and all that, kind of puts that, okay, this guy isn't a dumbass. And then after that, I've also honed my skills. I think mentalism helps as well, because that part of my job is essentially reading people. So when I'm talking to someone, people love it sounds like a dick when I'm saying it. I gravitate towards people, see what I can. I try to resonate with that energy, which I think makes them kind of be on their wavelength, and then they understand me. They're like, oh, this guy is nice. So in that way, it helps me business-wise as well, because that way I speak their language. What a lot of people, I guess, don't, they speak their own language. I don't know if I'm explaining this rightly. And when the other person is speaking to, they don't resonate, and then they're like, okay, this guy is just too different from me, right? Have you ever felt that when you're having a conversation with someone?
Yeah, of course, bro. Yeah. Of course I did.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I get it, bro. Yeah. So, how was your experience being on the stage of Ittadi? Because that's once in a lifetime experience for anyone born in Bangladesh, right?
Yeah, 100%. It was fun. It's scary as well, because there's more than 50,000 people in front of us.
Yeah.
People climbing trees and whatnot, getting up on rooftops. One of the houses broke down and the roof caved in. The fire brigade had to come and pull them out.
Oh,
that
holy
crazy.
hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, and then but I think I managed it all right, and then it was fun. At the end of the day, it's lots of people, lots of love, and then I got huge reactions. The trick that I did.
Sure, of course, and it should be scary, as you're saying that it was scary when you were on the stage. It's the only show in Bangladesh that every single person in the country knows about, and it's exactly such an amazing opportunity to be in there, and I'm so happy for you that you went there and performed in front of all these people.
Oh, cheers. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, bro, of course. And any upcoming big plans you want to share
that
you have?
Yeah, I think the next project that was, by this time we'd have probably been shooting it, and then already halfway through ready. This is a show that I've pitched to Bongo being one of the media firms. I'm not sure yet, but it's basically a show like David Blaine's, where you kind of have have a series of magic tricks coming around, and then you going around to people, theme to it, the entire storyline, and you basically, it's like a special that released on Netflix. So if Corona didn't hit, by this time we would have been halfway through shooting, and then we would have been launching it by the end of before Ramzan. But obviously right now, Corona took over, so we kind of put it because we can't actually go out and pull in the streets or the other places.
Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, I hope all of us come back stronger from this quarantine and go big with our plans after all this is over.
Yeah, 100%. The way I see it, I don't actually I don't mind the quarantine. I'd rather not have it, but then again, I don't mind it, because I've been so busy in Australia, because what I was doing is I was working a full-time job. I was doing the theater shows on the weekend. On the side, I was managing my business, magic.razik. So it was almost 3 jobs at the same time, and I always wanted that oh damn, I wish I had that time where I could just invest to myself. was
Yeah.
the world was paused, where the world wasn't moving, but I'm gonna move ahead and get things. And ideally speaking, I kind of got my wish in a way that I know it's a disaster and everything's hit the fan.
Right.
But technically speaking, most people don't have the mentality of getting things done when they're stuck inside the house. For them, this is like a holiday or a rest period. So my wish essentially was granted. That the world is paused. I am bettering myself, getting things done, and then by the end of when I come out of it, I'm gonna inshallah come out stronger.
Yes, right. And actually, honestly speaking, this quarantine gave me some new perspective. It gave me some time to spend with myself alone, and rethink all the decisions that I was taking. And right now, having all this time to spend with myself and all my decisions, I'm thinking after all this is done, I'll come out a better person.
100%. It's also brought out a lot of creativity out of from people in general. Because I see people doing a lot of cool things, like people drawing, people doing sketches and whatnot. So I think.
Yeah, and me starting my podcast. If this was not for the quarantine, I wouldn't have started my podcast.
Oh
wow. Yeah.
Oh, I'll probably sit down with
with
you one of these days, because I kind of have a plan of doing something similar down the lines, but not right now. I have too many plates I'm spinning right now, and I hate taking one more plate which is going to break all the other plates. But but later on maybe.
I understand, bro. So right now, let's go. Let's take a step back and ask you a question. If you had to start all over again and pave your own path towards becoming a magician, how would you go about it?
The only thing different I'd have done is I'd have started it sooner when I was younger. But then again, looking back at what I did and in the amount of fun that I had and all the shit that I wouldn't take it back. I'd still do the same thing all over again. I think also a lot of the things some of the hardship that I had for what I did and made me stronger right now because of the stupidity and all the bad decisions I made. So even the bad things that happened to me, I was you know what, if I had to do it all over again, I would make the stupid mistakes so that I come out stronger on the other side. And then hopefully I would hope that I had the I had the due diligence and basically the perspective of looking at it as okay, you made that mistake, learn from it.
I see.
But I don't think I've changed anything.
So,
I like everything that's happened so far.
I see. That's great though. As a person working in the media, Raziq, what do you think is the importance of creating a personal brand in today's world? You have certainly positioned yourself as a mentalist and a magician throughout many years. Do you think it is important for everyone trying to make it big?
I think personal branding is extremely important, right? For all entrepreneurs, people who are kind of in the media industry, snowballs into an entrepreneur later on. But some of them don't even think about it. Some people just there for the heck of it. But I think someone you and I guess, if you're thinking about that way, they've all got an end goal. It's I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna reach here. So I think a personal having that identity and something that people can relate to and gravitate towards, and developing that brand not in people's faces, almost on the background, kind of helps you establish that. And suddenly at the end of the day, a couple of years, people will be oh, I know, let's say your podcast, I know Magic.razik, I know that, by that name. So it's the brand that kind of builds up.
Absolutely. Right. So you think building a personal brand is important for every personality trying to make it big, in every industry, every niche? Do you think so?
I think so. And even if you don't want to, as a successful, it automatically becomes a brand. Even if you're not trying.
Right. Right, exactly. So that's awesome. That's awesome to know. And let's talk a bit about Take Me Out Australia.
Right.
You have been a part of the show. how far did you go on the competition?
It wasn't a competition. It's basically a guy comes on the lift, like the 30 girls, and like you talk, and then like you present something. There's 3 rounds, and after that, like you've got girls that have left their life, and you also have the possibility where you don't have any of the lights kept the lights on. Then you kind of go home with no one. Like the end of the game, and the end of the show is essentially you take one of them out on a date, and that's what the audience wants to see.
Okay.
So by the end, sorry, you're saying something.
Yeah, carry on. No, I was asking, like, did you get to take anyone out on a
date? Yeah, I had 4 girls to choose from, so I narrowed it down to 1 girl.
Oh wow! Okay.
And yeah, I took her out on a date. It was fun.
Yeah, that should be fun. Yeah, so.
It's scary as hell as well. It's crazy. Like, just imagine that. Like, it's one of the scariest moments when you're coming down the lift. There's 30 girls waiting for you. You don't know what the hell they're gonna tell you. So yeah.
Yeah, I see, bro. Yeah, right. It should be scary. Just out of curiosity, bro. Like, we have similar shows in the Indian subcontinent as well. Yeah. Like similar to Take Me Out, but in most cases, these shows are scripted. Right. We get to see a lot of controversies nowadays on social media about the shows. But what's the deal with Take Me Out? What's the selection process, and how did you get in the show?
So found me on the show was through Instagram, because Raziq was on the up and up, and then they found me, contacted me, and then they're like, "Oh, do you know about the show?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know." When I was living in London, like, Take Me Out is huge in the UK. So and then I said no initially, but they kept following up, and then like my colleagues at work were like, "Dude, you gotta do this. It's gonna be fun. Even if you don't do it for yourself, do it for us." And then like at the end of the month, I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. It's one of a once in a lifetime experience."
So you're saying that your personal brand helped you get into that?
Yeah. They're picking people that kind of has some sort of a talent, or like something they can show girls, because there's 3 rounds. One of the rounds, the 3rd round, the last round, is you do a talent. So we had like everything. We had rappers, we had strippers, we had like guy strippers, and then we had like singers.
Yeah.
We had acrobats. So we had like guys who did essentially anything. So I was the magician. So like they always gravitated like when they're picking people, they're gravitated to people who actually has a talent and can do something on stage. So yeah, that worked out for them, and for me as well, obviously.
Yeah, awesome. I want to become an actor eventually, and I guess this advice would help me out later, like creating my personal brand. I can leverage that later for getting me acting jobs, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think in the day of social media and that reach that people has, like there are people doing it right now. They're like, "Hey, look, like I know you're doing this, let's say a movie or a nato. Like this is the amount of reach that I have.
Yeah.
Like you put just regardless of if I'm good or not, you just putting me there is gonna have like 10,000 people at it." So that's kind of like a lot of people that's the in for them, and also you wanna like have the maximum amount of eyeballs on you just to increase your of getting there.
Exactly. Right. Awesome. That's good to know, Raziq. So on this podcast, Raziq, I talk about entrepreneurship, and I try to bring inspirations for all the aspiring entrepreneurs out there. And I'm trying to look into your entrepreneurial side. Do you have any plans on utilizing your skills and talent and turn it out into any entrepreneurial endeavors, like using magic?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, and I've got this entire thing planned out. I've got just in front of my bed, there is this huge white that has the flow chart of everything. It looks like a crazy scientist.
I see.
So
yeah. So like, can you share it with the audience today?
Yeah, sure. I can give you the snapshot. So basically, how Magic.razik Magic.razik is a magic brand, and then like this part of Magic.razik to another other stuff like which I'm kind of is basically on fashion lifestyle, which is other things that I absolutely love.
Okay.
And then even on my Magic.razik page, I've kind of put them all the nights that people know about it, but like Instagram doesn't like it when you kind of mix niches together, right? So let's talk about Magic.razik and the things that come out of Magic.razik. Magic.razik, we're gonna have obviously the shows and the videos and all those coming out just to put that exposure out. And
Yes.
then we're going to
Yes.
from that we're going to have a session where we teach people as well. So this is kind of almost gonna like a coaching session where I select a few people and I teach
Yeah.
them magic. So that's like a course that's gonna be developed as soon as Corona finishes. Even if it doesn't, I'll probably start thinking about converting it online. And then we have the magic video, the David Blaine kind of project coming out as soon as Corona finishes as well. So we've got that for reach. And then from that, we've also got a product, like a magic kind of kit that I'm gonna develop. That's like a merch that's gonna go out from Magic.razik. So this is another way of
Under your brand?
under my brand. And then from Magic.razik, you've got the other side, which is Raziq Lifestyle. So Raziq Lifestyle is going to focus on fashion, fitness, and a bit of travel as well, right? So from the fashion, we've got the vlog and a clothing line that's going to come out of it, like for merch. And then also it's going to associate itself with Magic.razik at the same time, but it's a little bit different, but then people know they're both Raziks. So as eventually the end goal is launching a clothing line through that. From the fitness side of things, basically the plan is to oh, my Siri is saying something, so apologies. So from the fitness side of things, obviously initially the plan is to promote awareness and fitness and wellness for people. Through that, we're going to have merch coming in as well, a fitness line, also tying it with the clothing brand down there. And also for travel, I'm going to be liaising with a lot of travel brands of basically letting me travel and then subsidizing my travels, so that on their side they're getting views through YouTube and Instagram and whatnot, but I want them to
brand awareness.
And then but at the same time they're going to be, since I'll be sponsoring them, they'll be sponsoring me, I want them to subsidize my entire travel or whatnot. So at least that way I'm just traveling around for free. I'm getting content from myself, seeing a new country, and then at the same time I'm working on building the portfolio for Magic.razik.
Fantastic, brother. So, all right, before we end this amazing conversation with you, Raziq, what advice do you have for people trying to follow your passion of magic and people trying to work in the media?
I think for magic, both different answers, I guess. For magic, keep at it, I guess. Because magic is glamorous, or when you kind of see it, it's fun, it's amazing. People are like, whoa, what happens? But there's always a lot of work that goes in the background. So just stay with it, be consistent, like everything else. The obsession that you have for what you love, into your work at the same time. So that's what I'd say for magic, because there's a lot of work that goes into the background for basically practicing and doing all these things. And what was the other topic that you said?
How to work in the media.
Oh, for the media industry, I don't know that. I'm figuring it out as I go. Yeah, but then again, I think I'd say trying to increase your reach and the amount of eyeballs that you have on yourself, because that that will never fail, because the more eyeballs you have on you, the better your chances are. There's also the probability that there might be two eyeballs and one of the eyeballs might like you for a job and you become the next big shit. But then again, the chances of you having 1,000 eyeballs on you and the probability of just general statistics. So yeah, just increase exposure, get your name out there.
I see, brother. What a great advice and what a great episode this has been, Raziq. I cannot thank you enough for being on the show. It has been such a pleasure, and I wish you all the best for your upcoming.
No, thank you. This was fun. Yeah.
It's all my pleasure, boys. All my pleasure. So this is it for this week's episode, folks. I hope you all got inspired by the amazing story of Magic Raziq, and I hope it brought you value. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at magic.razik, at magic.razik, and come back for more entrepreneurial inspirations next Tuesday on the Beardless Lad audio experience. This is your host, the Beardless Lad, signing off.